Alright, so this question is asking you to find ingredient in step form. Alright, so let me just write what that is briefly. So that's y equals mx plus c, the equation of line 1, line 2, and line 3. So that's a bit of a process. So obviously I would probably do I first because that's probably logical. So let's start there. So my line 1, let's have a look. I've got my 2 points. Maybe I'll highlight them for you. So all I have to do is find the gradient and then substitute it in one of the formulas with one of the dot points. So let's find the gradient. Right, just the formula that we're used to, and then I have to label it. Right, so my y2 is 1, y1 is 3, x2 is 2, minus 2, so I get minus 2 over 4, which I simplify down to minus a half because I can divide this one by 2, and then I can also divide this one by 2. Brilliant. So all I have to do now is use that equation. I take b, x take a equals the m, and what I have to do is change the b and the a and the m, and see if I can solve it. Alright, so I'm just going to choose maybe this point over here because they're both positive numbers. I find that easier to deal with. So that's my a, that's my b. So I take b, x take 2 equals negative a half. And if I want it in the gradient intercept form, all I have to do is get rid of this one first. It's a divide at the moment, so I have to make sure I times it. So that cancels out, so I get y take 1 equals, I'm going to expand the bracket while I'm at it, negative x over 2, and then negative half times a negative 2, which will turn into a plus 2. Almost done. All I have to do is get rid of the minus 1 over here, so I go plus 1, plus 1, so therefore y is going to be negative x over 2 plus 2. Here's my equation. Let's move on to II. Right, my line 2, let's have a look. So hopefully you can see that there's a little bit of a right angle sign, meaning line 1 and line 2 are perpendicular. So my m must be the negative reciprocal of this number over here, negative half. What's a negative reciprocal of a negative half? Well, it's going to be flipped, so 2 over 1, and then the negative will turn into a positive, so just positive 2 basically. So all I have to do is use this same over here, 2, 1, because that's the only dot point on there, and then figure it out. So I go y take b, x take a is the m, that's the equation that I always use, and sub those values in. My b is 1, my a is 2, and my gradient is 2. Right, again, I gotta times it by x take 2 to get rid of it from that side. That cancels out, so therefore y take 1 is 2x take 4. Right, last step, I just add 1 to get rid of that one. Therefore, y equals 2x take 3. Done. Alright, let's move on to I. So line 3, as you can see, line 3 is perpendicular to line 2, which also means that it should be the same as line 1, parallel to line 1. So the m value would be negative reciprocal of 2, which will be negative half, but if you also see that, it's the same as the m for line 1, meaning they're parallel. Just a little fact. Okay, so I need to figure that out. So I'm going to use this point, a and b. So my y take b over x take a is my m, so use that formula again. So that's the formula, unfortunately, you do have to remember because it won't be on your equation sheet. That's very important. Alright, y take my b is 5, x take 9 equals negative half. So let's see if I can solve this one. So times by x take 9, times by x take 9 to get rid of it. Therefore, y take 5 is minus x divided by 2 plus 9 over 2. Alright, all I have to do is plus 5, so therefore y is minus x over 2. I'm just going to grab my calculator and do plus 5 plus 9 over 2. And I get 19 over 2. Alright, so here's my 3 equations done. Let's see if I can do B over here. Show that the coordinate of P are 5, 7. So P is over here. So what I have to do is make sure that is 5 over 7. Alright, so at the moment I'm just going to not use those numbers and maybe use C and D to prove that it's 5, 7. Alright, let's see what I do know. So first things first, I have to make sure it lies on equation line 2 and line 3. So basically 5, 7 need to lie on this line here. Alright, so it needs to make sure it goes into those 2 equations. So all I'm going to do is maybe just rewrite it as, my x value is C, my y value is D. So I'm going to try to do that. So using line 3, it tells me that my D should be 2 times C take 3. Brilliant. My line 4 tells me that D equals minus C over 2 plus 19 over 2. Cool. Now I hope you notice that D and D, should be equal to each other because we want to find that it's 7, right? It should be equal to each other. So basically what that means is because D equals this little guy and then D also equals this little guy, they actually therefore equal each other. So you can just rewrite it like so. Okay, and then what you can do is just rearrange the equation. So what I'm going to do first is